This is Azure, your intelligent cloud, where innovation is built to last. With the support of Azure, Kraft Heinz is creating a self-driving supply chain, improving forecast accuracy by 35%, so mealtime stays on time. The Premier League is a global way of life. Azure unites 30 years of league history into one experience. With personalized insights, the world's game just got more inclusive. Timeless brands never stop evolving. Azure helps Levi's craftsmanship stay ahead of the curve. Now agents connect expertise across departments, and jeans fit better, arrive sooner, and never go out of style. This is Azure, the next frontier of custom solutions. Ready to build the future?
Please welcome CVP and Chief Product Officer, Azure Platform, Jeremy Winter.
Hello, everyone. All right. Hey, it's good to be here with you all at Ignite, and I appreciate you coming. I'm Jeremy Winter, Chief Product Officer of the Azure Platform, and this week is all about innovation. And the pace of change has just never been faster. Yesterday, you heard from Judson and Scott, and in the keynote, about how we're building this next future of the cloud in an AI era. And today I'm excited to dive deep into how we're bringing to life much of those advancements across the entire Azure platform. Now, it's just been one of those most productive years of innovation that I have ever seen, and you'll see that throughout Ignite in the sessions led by the engineers and who built those solutions. And all of this is progressing as we reflect on just this one key thing: how our customers are evolving and how the role of the cloud infrastructure really here itself is changing. Across every industry and every stage of growth, organizations are rethinking how you operate. From the world's largest enterprises to startups just getting going, they're using cloud and AI to connect people, decisions, and systems in real time. Now, one of my favorite examples of this is BMW. And they were able to take their old approach, which was collecting test data and reviewing it and applying these improvements in future builds. And that cycle could take days, weeks, or longer. And today, thousands of these development vehicles stream data directly into Azure, and it's analyzed in real time. And that's now giving the engineers insights in minutes, and they can push updates right away to the vehicles. And what once was this slow, disconnected process is now a continuous loop of feedback. And it really helps them have action. And BMW didn't set out to go build a data platform. They set out to build cars and faster. But what was able to do it, by partnering with us, they were able to make this all possible. And so as I talk to customers like yourselves, a few themes come up again and again. When it comes to reliability, when we think about it at scale, speed depends on trust, and your platform must always stay on. And deployment sizes grow, the release cycles accelerate, you would need to rely on that deployment system and the platform. On security and sovereignty, you need protection at every level, with visibility and control to meet regulatory needs and to keep your data and your applications secure. And for modernization, organizations are refactoring those legacy systems with cloud-native solutions. And to that it helps them with agility. It helps you also enable portability. And of course, AI is a part of nearly every conversation I'm in. And for some, it's early exploration. Others, it's already starting to transform their business. But across the board, everyone wants infrastructure that they can trust to power it. Now, that's exactly what Azure is built to go deliver. Our strategy centers on three key priorities. First is building the most advanced and performant infrastructure from silicon to data center with security and resiliency built in from the start. And second is transforming cloud operations with AI agents built into Azure Copilot to reduce your operational overhead. And the third is delivering this one connected platform that supports all your workloads. These priorities define how Azure helps you modernize with confidence and innovate at your pace. Now, everything we've talked about so far starts with this one thing: infrastructure. It's the foundation that powers every workload on Azure. Now, let's take a closer look at this. Azure is built for this dependable world-class performance and global scale. We have more than 70 regions and over 400 data centers. Azure is the largest and most connected footprint in the world. It's meeting the broadest set of regional and industry requirements everywhere you operate. We've launched 9 regions in the past year and are now live in 33 countries around the globe. Now that equates to launching nearly a region per month. And over the past year, we've advanced every layer of that foundation, making Azure faster, more efficient, and ready for the next decade of computing. For example, our work with Hollow Core Fiber. This has improved our data transmissions by nearly 50% and reduced latency by a third. And as you heard in yesterday's keynotes, we're delivering a new generation of infrastructure purpose-built for AI. And these advancements don't just power AI. The innovations flow directly back into the entire platform and all the workloads. So to take us deeper into this technology and behind a lot of these breakthroughs, I'd love to welcome Nidhi Chappell to the stage. Now, Nidhi has been just critical and instrumental in shaping what we're doing with our Azure infrastructure. I'm excited to have her up to talk to you all. Nidhi, come on up.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Jeremy. Hi, everyone. I'm Nidhi Chappell. I'm probably the most excited person in that room when it comes to talking about AI infrastructure. I also lead Azure AI infrastructure. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, actually, I was in Atlanta unveiling our AI supercomputer factory, super factories as we call it, Fairwater. Now, Fairwater isn't just a concept. It's actually something that we have built ground up. It is an AI-first data center design that runs through the heart of all of our new AI super factories. We have refactored DC designs, really rethinking power layouts, row power layouts, network, storage, compute, everything with a singular goal on how we become hyper-optimized for these new emerging AI workloads, both training and inference. Now, each of our facilities can support thousands and thousands of GB200 and GB300 chips here. Just every quarter, we are deploying hundreds of thousands of GB200s and GB300s for training and inference worldwide. And not just running at scale, but running and performing at scale, at this level of scale for all of our customers. Now, it's not just GPUs, right? These GPUs are backed by millions of compute cores and multi-exabytes of Azure Blob storage, enough to hold 80 billion 4K movies. Somebody into binge watching all of them, be my guest. Now, these AI supercomputing factories, like I said, had forced us to really rethink and reimagine not just the infrastructure, but all of our core services on top too. So we really had to go back to the drawing board to think about how do we refactor this kind of throughput into our services like Blob storage, into compute, so that we could really support AI jobs at large scale and deliver the performance and reliability that is needed. The amazing thing in all of this is all of this innovation that is happening for AI is now being available to every customer on all of our AI infrastructure across Azure. So all of these learnings are basically carrying through and helping our stack, not just for AI, actually for all of our regular customers as well. In many ways, as we were building these data centers and rethinking our infrastructure, we really had to break a few of the laws of physics. And one of them was, how do we connect these large data centers that are thousands of miles apart and allow them to act as one large supercomputer? And we've been able to connect them with what we call the AI WAN. And even within the super factories, we actually are implementing a brand new network architecture that allows us to have very high density of GPUs, and that is higher than anybody in the industry. Now, one would argue, why would we need this level of density? The density is all in service of customer needs. AI workloads really are very sensitive to latency. So we ended up having to rethink every layer of the stack to say, how do we create very dense designs that allow our customers to actually deliver latency? Even going back to building multi-level data centers, we're actually one of the few in the industry who are doing multi-level data centers, because again, we wanted to be able to pack in as many GPUs as possible within a certain latency envelope. Beyond just like the density at the data center and our stack, we have also created this app-aware networking intelligence that allows our end customers and our operators to actually maximize GPU utilization. We are connecting all of these with like a very high-end, both Ethernet backend and InfiniBand network backends that can deliver 800 terabits per second speed. These networking innovations are at the center of how we are accelerating AI. And they're not only helping us with AI, they are now improving Azure's backbone, reducing latency, and really increasing the throughput for workloads across our entire stack. So whether it is SAP-like workload or just like regular compute databases, all of these are getting lifted up. Now, we couldn't have done this without our partners. Really, at the center of our innovation comes our close partnership with our industry partners, NVIDIA and AMD, that have helped us really break through some performance barriers and deliver the cutting-edge technology. If we were to talk about our partnership with AMD, we were the first in the industry to bring out MI300X, and we will actually now be productizing the next generation MI455 as well. Our partnership with NVIDIA is equally deep, if not more. We've actually been the first in the industry to deliver NVIDIA GB200s, GB300s. We are scaling at very large scale. And now we are actually also announcing that we will be bringing the latest Vera Rubins. And I would love to assure you that Azure will actually be the first one to bring these to market at scale. Now, along with this, we have our own Maya chips too. But what does that really mean for an end customer? Like all of these innovations, whether it comes to the data center, whether it comes at the chip level, really it's all about delivering performance. Here's a small proof point of this. Azure is the first one to deliver 1.1 million tokens per second on a single rack of GB300s. Let's compare that to our latest and greatest. Our competition has announced the Trainium 2. This is 12x better. 12x better. So what does this mean for our customer, really? You're able to deliver for your next application, you're really able to deliver the best performance in a very, very small envelope, deriving economics that is very, very favorable at every token level. Now, the way we do that is we are able to deliver a lot of concurrent interactions per GB300. And this is the best place with all of our work delivering a compliant framework. We're actually a really good place for even our customers that are running this in the regulated industries. As we look through our innovation, we are looking at both distributed AI training as well as AI inference. This is going to be worldwide. We are creating next generation of AI infrastructure that will allow us to really scale with the needs of our customers. I'll encourage you all, there's a few sessions that are going on during Ignite where we are sharing the innovations that are happening in training as well as in inference. And I encourage you to check out all of those sessions. I could be here speaking on Fairwater for a long time, but to me, Fairwater is a proving ground for us. It's not just an AI region, but it is how we are making Azure faster, more efficient, and really more resilient for all of our customers. With that, I'm handing it back to Jeremy. Thank you.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. Look, it's just incredible what we're doing with Fairwater and our silicon partners. And one of the things that I was going to also add, since Nidhi showed a chip, I'll do it as well. As you've heard, those advances continue across the entire platform of Azure, and from performance to security and resiliency. And one example of this is really what we're doing with Azure Boost. Now, Azure Boost moves virtualization processes to purpose-built hardware and software, which then allows you to deliver these major gains across storage, network, and compute. And so this really, since build, which was this spring, Boost really enabled performance has improved by over 1.5 times already. And we've increased throughput and IOPS on Azure managed disks, and we've doubled the network speed for our newest virtual machines. Now, this is the advantage that we're talking about when you see silicon accelerated infrastructure. And you get this continuous improvement without you needing to change a single line of code. Now, as performance and scales grow, so does protection. Protection just has to keep pace here. And security and sovereignty are engineered into Azure at every layer, so you can operate with confidence wherever you do your business. And at the foundation, data is encrypted and stays where you need it. Layered network protections keep traffic secure and threats contained, and data residency control ensures information remains in the regions. Confidential compute capabilities safeguards those operations, and built-in threat protection helps you stay ahead of the attackers. And together, this means the platform security that respects sovereignty requirements and delivers the broadest set of regulatory and compliance coverage in the industry. Now, we're building on this foundation with new capabilities that make protection even simpler. For example, Azure Bastion, which is secure by default, is built into the platform. Now, this Azure Bastion, it automatically hardens remote access to virtual machines through SSH and RDP. And this just really helps you reduce setup time and risk because of the default nature. We've also done network security perimeter, which is now globally available. And this provides secure and centralized firewall to control access to your PaaS resources on Azure. And we're making advancements in the web application firewall with CAPTCHA for human verification. Now, the key here is all of this builds on Azure's broader stack of confidential virtual machines, containers, hardware-based attestation, and encryption, ensuring that your protection is available from the hardware through the entire application. But even with the most secure platform, unexpected events still happen. And that's where resiliency comes in. Resiliency has always been a part of Azure's foundation, and we continue to strengthen it across our global infrastructure, as well as through tools that help you build resilient workloads. Now, we see it as a shared responsibility, so we're making it easier than ever for you to improve your availability of your applications. Now, building on these investments, today we're introducing a unified experience for designing highly available and recoverable and workloads that can be recoverable, called Azure Resiliency. Now, Azure Resiliency delivers visibility, insights, and guided remediation via the new Azure Copilot Resiliency Agent. You can assess resiliency posture. You can run drills. You can close the gaps with ready-to-use scripts, all directly within the Azure Resiliency. And this is just one example of how AI and Copilot are transforming how we run the cloud itself. Now, we're bringing that same intelligence across operations, connecting insights, troubleshooting, and optimization, all through the Azure Copilot experience. And together, these agents give you this intelligent loop that helps anticipate issues, helps you think about continuously improving reliability and performance. And to walk us through that and all these incredible innovations in Azure Copilot, please welcome Annie Pearl, who also leads this entire effort and has been really focused in on the experience for Copilots. I'm excited to bring her up.
All right. right. Thank you, Jeremy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Annie Pearl. I lead our Azure Experiences and Ecosystems team here at Microsoft. And over the past decade, I think we've all seen cloud adoption has skyrocketed. And with this growth has come complexity. And we're seeing IT teams struggle with fragmented tools and endless dashboards and manual processes. And so this cloud complexity has really outpaced human scale. And at the same time, we're seeing the industry shift at a rapid pace. Continuous change is now the new norm, and we're seeing AI agents emerge as viable teammates working together with humans to accelerate outcomes faster. And so this industry shift is really driving a new way of working. Which leads us to this frontier moment where AI and cloud are converging to redefine operations. We call this agentic cloud ops, the new operating model for the cloud where intelligent agents orchestrate across IT ops, DevOps, SecOps, data ops, and FinOps to allow you to create with speed and run your cloud with confidence. And this isn't just an incremental change. This is a step function leap in how we design, deploy, and manage our cloud environments, and it's what's going to take us from human scale to agent scale. And agentic cloud ops fundamentally changes how we work. It moves us from manual workflows to intelligent and automated patterns of work. For example, migration used to be a one-time project. Now it's continuous modernization. Monitoring used to mean endless dashboards and reacting to alerts, and now it's observability and self-correction. And governance used to be found in audits, and now it's just embedded into delivery. So agentic cloud ops is really unlocking these new patterns of work where humans set the intent and agents take action on their behalf. And our hero product bringing this to life is Azure Copilot, a new agentic interface in the Azure portal that orchestrates specialized agents across the entire cloud management lifecycle with the governance capabilities built in to support complex operations at enterprise scale. And Azure Copilot is built on 3 pillars: experience, a full lifecycle of agentic capabilities, and governance. So let's go into each of these pillars now, starting first with the experience. We've built a fully immersive, personalized, and contextual experience in the Azure portal, really built to simplify your work, whether you're deep in code or managing operations. Copilot surfaces the right agent at the right time, wherever you are, using our agent orchestrator. And with the new Operations Center dashboard, you have a unified view to help you navigate, troubleshoot, and deploy with ease by embedding agents directly into your workflows. So bringing it all together, Azure Copilot delivers a smarter, more intuitive way to work, wherever you are, whenever you need it. And powering this experience is a system of specialized agents working together to make your workflows faster, smarter, and more intuitive. Which brings us to our second pillar of agentic capabilities. Azure Copilot introduces a full lifecycle of agents that work with you and on your behalf to help accelerate outcomes faster. And here at Ignite, we're launching 6 new agents across the entire cloud management lifecycle, from migration to deployment, optimization, observability, resiliency, and troubleshooting. And so you can see Azure Copilot, as it orchestrates these agents, it moves us from those manual workflows to the intelligent and automated patterns of work where humans set the intent and agents take action on their behalf. And so as these agents modernize legacy applications and streamline operations, one thing becomes really critical. They must do so consistently, securely, and in compliance. Which brings us to our third pillar of governance. Azure Copilot ensures every action, whether taken by a human or an agent, aligns with your company's policies and standards. Copilot provides a unified framework for compliance, auditing, and policy enforcement that respects RBAC rules, as well as Azure policy integration. And with Bring Your Own Storage, you have complete control over chat and artifact data. So that's Azure Copilot. First, our third pillar of governance, which makes sure you have built-in compliance, but that's Azure Copilot. It's a new agentic interface that orchestrates specialized agents across the entire cloud management lifecycle with the governance capabilities built in to support complex operations at enterprise scale. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ruhi to show it to you in action.
Thank you, Annie. let me take a few minutes to walk you through some of these agents live in action. Agents that are enabling me and my engineering organization to be more effective at managing our services infrastructure. So with that, let's get into some of the interesting stuff. Over here, as a DevOps engineer needing to deploy new workloads, you probably know there are a lot of things to consider. What if I had Azure Copilot and the deployment agent helping me with this task? So let's go ahead. I am in the Azure Copilot experience. And over here, let me go ahead and ask the agent to help with this deployment. In the agent mode, I can ask, deploy a AKS-based secure production-ready service, a generic prompt, which then the agent takes and builds this entire deployment plan. As you can see, it's built in Azure's well-architected framework. Secure by default, it has private endpoints, network security groups. It's ready for production when I see observability, resiliency, all built in. Honestly, a lot of things that would have taken me hours, if not days, to get it right. Not only do I see this, on the right side, you would see, and I'll scroll through those, the list of resources that this deployment will go ahead and create on my behalf as well. I can scan through all of these, and for any one of these resources, for example, this private AKS cluster, it shows me the alternatives and the trade-offs considered by the agent. At any time I want to go and modify my requirements, I can say, please give me a multi-region DR strategy. I can go ahead and ask the deployment agent to do it. And within minutes, I will see I have a primary and a secondary AKS cluster in 2 different regions, meeting all of my production requirements. So let's approve this plan. And now the agent is actually going through and creating production-ready Terraform code that I can review right here in front of me. I can actually go ahead and connect to GitHub. I'll connect to my repo and have it go through my standard CI/CD pipeline and have the Terraform experts honestly go and review this code for me. When I create this PR request, and I can now go ahead and look in GitHub as well and make sure that this code has been pushed through. And there we go. Our Terraform code is ready to be deployed with confidence and all the necessary requirements. Now that our service has been running for a while, looks like after the last security update, yes, those are necessary, we're seeing some sporadic transaction failures on our service. I want to go ahead and quickly diagnose and see if I can figure out why am I having issues with my AKS cluster. So let me go and see if I can go to the monitoring tab here and see if my nodes and pods are healthy. Looks like my pods are indeed healthy and I don't see any error events. Since it's a secure cluster, let me connect and run some quick kubectl commands and see if I can diagnose what's going on with my cluster here. I can open Cloud Shell and let's do some diagnostics. Looks like my network policies are all running, so that's good. Let's look at the health of our nodes and pods. They seem to be running and healthy. Well, this isn't as quick as I thought. Let's see if I can check the connectivity across the namespaces and see if that's still working. So let's do another check here. It should be all good. Oh, this is where I was expecting a 200 response. Now I can keep doing this on my own, diagnosing, or let me go ahead and ask Azure Copilot and the troubleshooting agent to see if it can quickly help me diagnose what's going on with my network namespace connectivity. Over here, with this prompt, I can see all the activities, the chain of thought the agent is going through, running all the checks, egress, ingress traffic, and I can see that in simple natural language, it's explaining to me that looks like after the last update, I have been blocking traffic on all ports other than 80 for my newly deployed pods. Well, that explains the sporadic nature of failures. I can also, given Copilot and agent has full context of my environment and the workloads, ask it for a fix where it can generate a secure YAML file for remediating this. Let's go ahead and give another prompt to the agent. And with this prompt, I should get the YAML file that should help me go fix the issue. There we go. I have the YAML code in front of me that I can again have folks who are in depth into it go ahead and review, and I have a fix ready for my clusters as well. So with that, we just saw 2 powerful agents deployment and troubleshooting agents, helping me manage my production workloads effectively. There's one more agent I want to show. As we started talking about, I mentioned making sure our deployments are starting being resilient by default. I also want to make sure that they continue to stay resilient. And we do know that configuration changes happen, updates happen, and I want to make sure that this continues to still stay resilient. What if I ask the Copilot and the resiliency agent to see if I have non-resilient resources in my environment? And over here, with this prompt, I can see that across the subscriptions I have access to, I have these set of resources, virtual machines, storage accounts that are not zonally resilient. Now, either I can go and fix this manually, or I can actually also ask the Copilot and the agent to give me a quick resolution on how I can make these zonally resilient. So in this example, the resiliency agent is actually giving me this queue updates, the configuration changes, the configuration files that I can go ahead and apply to make them zonally resilient, as well as the risk and cost analysis, the validation checklist, rollback strategy, everything that will make sure I do this and I do this right. So those were just some of the examples where Azure Copilot and the agents are removing the complexity and transforming cloud operations management for us. Thank you. With that, back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Annie and Ruhi. Look, it's just inspiring to see how far we've come in transforming the cloud and cloud operations with these Azure Copilot and the agents. And everything we've talked about today, from the foundation of AI infrastructure to the intelligence of the Azure Copilot, comes together for how customers like yourself are going to need to modernize on Azure. Now, modernization isn't a single path. It happens across every kind of workload, and Azure is built to support them all. From AI-driven and cloud-native applications to complex enterprise systems, Azure is built to run all three simultaneously. And modernization isn't just a one-time project. It's something that's continuous. It's a process that every system needs to move forward on its own path. And Azure enables that shift, helping you modernize confidently at your pace. We're continuing to invest deeply in the platforms you rely on every day, both for Microsoft and our partners. Now, as I start to work through these, Microsoft Foundry has over 11,000 models for you on the AI side to start building and running AI. And Azure Kubernetes Service remains our flagship platform for running containers at scale, powering mission-critical applications worldwide. And on the enterprise side, SQL Server 2025 is now generally available and bringing even greater performance, greater security and efficiency with built-in AI for data that you already have. And Azure is the home of some of the largest industry Linux estates in the industry. And this year is our 10th anniversary of partnership with Red Hat. And this milestone is a testament to how deeply we believe in the openness of supporting the ecosystems and the software that you depend on. And that same commitment is driving some of the fastest growth we are seeing in our cloud-native business. And when I say cloud-native, I mean applications that are built to run in the cloud from day one, using containers, Kubernetes, and open-source technologies. And you choose these technologies because you want flexibility and openness and confidence to be able to scale. And so we're continuing to invest deeply in that foundation, and we have several new updates that we're rolling out at Ignite. First, the Azure Kubernetes Service Automatic, which you may have heard yesterday, this really gives you a simpler Kubernetes experience right out of the gate. It just delivers production-ready clusters without the overhead of managing every component. And with managed system node pools, even the core services are handled for you, so your teams can focus on building and running applications. We're also bringing that same focus and simplicity to the data layer for new services that are built on open source technologies, which you already know. Azure Document DB, now generally available, is a new managed NoSQL database built on the open source PostgreSQL engine. And we contributed it back to the Linux Foundation. And it combines the familiarity of Postgres with the simplicity and performance developers expect from a cloud-native service. And today, we've also introduced Azure Horizon DB, our optimized version of Postgres. Now, this delivers a high-performance solution without any tuning. It has built its own multi-zone resilience and automatic scaling as the workloads grow. Because it's fully Postgres compatible, your developers can keep using the tools and patterns that they rely on for the Azure performance, they get the Azure reliability, and they already have AI built in. And all of this helps your teams move faster and build with the openness and scale that defines Azure. Okay, but we've just covered how teams can build cloud-native apps on Azure. Now let's talk about bringing your existing apps forward. Modernization is no longer about these just long projects. Modernization needs to be fast, needs to be collaborative and intelligent. And as you heard earlier from Annie, that's what our AI-driven agents are delivering. And as you modernize, many of you are evaluating exactly how to migrate those existing systems to Azure. And the Azure Copilot Migration Agent, which is in early access, accelerates this process, turning weeks' worth of work into hours. It automates the assessments, it automates your landing zones, and it also helps you refactor, even to containerization, all within the tools you already use. And it integrates into with GitHub Copilot and the modernization agent that's within GitHub Copilot, which now is globally available. And this modernizes .NET, Java, and Postgres apps, all directly inside GitHub. And together, they bring in the intelligence of this infrastructure, and you can accelerate things like your VMware migrations or simplify your SQL and Oracle upgrades. And this makes migrations faster and more disciplined, and it reduces your licensing overhead and lands workloads right with the right guardrails from day one. In every case, migration and modernization become guided and dramatically faster. And to show you just how powerful these agents are, I'd like to welcome Ashish Babar to the stage. Ashish has been running and driving all of the engineering efforts across our migration and modernization. I'm excited to have him come on up.
Hi, everyone. This is Ashish. I lead the Azure migration team. What makes this really powerful is the agents bringing the developers and IT together. And now through connected agentic workflows, both sides of the organization can work in sync, sharing context, validating changes, and modernizing applications from code to cloud all as one motion. IT manages the cloud environment and the landing zones. Developers modernize the code directly inside GitHub Copilot. Let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to role play a cloud architect at Zava. And I want to modernize my applications from VMware to Azure. And I start my journey with the Azure Copilot Migration Agent. The agent outlines a bunch of steps for modernization. I follow all these steps and quickly discover resources in my data center and report back. The agent analyzes and creates an inventory of servers, applications, and databases, including their interdependencies. Next, I want to understand the ROI of modernizing to Azure. The agent does the analysis of the workloads for me and reports a cost savings of $80,000. I use this information to review with my LT and greenlight the project. Subsequently, I want to finalize the migration approach for one of my applications. I tag all the resources for the application asset manager, which is a Java application. The agent does the analysis and recommends me a pass-based approach. The database goes to Azure DB for PG-SQL and web apps to Azure App Service containers. I am good with this. But before I move forward, I need to have a compliant cloud environment. The agent helps me set up a well-managed and secure Azure landing zone. And this is done in a matter of hours. With that out of the way, I focus my energy on reviewing the readiness assessment for the application. At this point of time, I decide to bring my developers into the conversation to get code insights using GitHub Copilot assessment. Now, my GitHub repo is already connected, so I just hit request. This creates a GitHub issue behind the scenes, and the developer picks it up. In VS Code, the dev uses the GitHub Copilot assessment engine, and it identifies legacy code patterns and bunch of other changes so that the application can run optimally on Azure. The developers aggregate these code insights and push it back into the GitHub issue. There you go. And upon refresh, the readiness assessment shares with me the revised effort estimates as well as the code insights on the readiness. This gives me further confidence. Meanwhile, the developer continues to use GitHub Copilot to modernize the application components and run tasks on containerization. This creates all the required files and configurations. GitHub Copilot builds, tests, and deploys the application, and here it is running successfully on Azure. Thanks to the migration agent and GitHub Copilot working together, my dev and I were able to successfully modernize the application from VMware to Azure with speed and confidence. Thank you, and back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you. Okay, man, like, what I love here is what you just saw with the agentic modernization just shows how much the space has evolved in the last few years. It is just incredible. And modernization is just no longer this slow and manual process, but it's intelligent, it's guided, and I love that it's just built into our copilots. So look, as I wrap up, everything we've covered today, from AI infrastructure to resiliency to the copilot operations and modernization, all come down to this single focus. We're focused on building a cloud that runs dependably, performs efficiently, and helps you do more. As you spend time at Ignite this week, be sure to join the Azure sessions on IaaS, migration, storage, and networking. And don't forget to connect down on the expo floor, because we have a lot of the product teams down there across the board. Look, thanks for your time and your partnership, and I really appreciate everything you're building with us. Have a great Ignite, everyone.